Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Got a note from several people, including one directly from the Institute for Justice, who are good friends of mine. Georgia veteran wins fight to get back every dollar wrongly seized by the DEA at the Atlanta airport. I did a video not so long ago about people being stopped by police officers as they're boarding airplanes and being searched and having their stuff taken. And there have been a bunch of cases involving that. Well, in this particular case, an Army veteran was trying to fly to Los Angeles to shoot a video to support his music career. Just before he boarded his flight, Drug Enforcement Administration agents seized $8,500 in cash he was going to use to pay for it. 4 years after that seizure, the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that he should get every penny back, every single one. Andrew Weimer, by the way, wrote this for the IJ. It's been a long fight, but it's a huge relief to have the court agree that I should get all my money back, the man says. Even though the government couldn't say what I did wrong and dropped the case, I was going to lose thousands of dollars. I hope that my victory can pave the way for others to get justice without paying a price. After the seizure, the government tried to take the man's money through civil asset forfeiture, even though they never charged him with a crime. So the man got lawyers to help him fight for his money, and with their help, the case was dismissed with prejudice, meaning it's done. The case is over. So by federal law, property owners are supposed to have their attorney fees paid by the government when they win these cases. But the district court determined because the government gave up, the man did not substantially prevail and could not be reimbursed for the costs of litigating his case, including his attorney fees. So the Institute for Justice stepped in on the appeal and argued that before the 11th Circuit last year. Now, understand the court's rationale in denying his attorney fees. The law says if you substantially prevail, you get your money back, including your attorney fees. And the court said, well, the other side gave up, so you didn't prevail. And that is some contorted logic right there. Let's assume that you were in a tournament where single elimination tournament, and if you win in the semifinals, you go to the finals. And as you go to the semifinals, your opponent forfeits. Great, we get to go to the finals. No, you didn't win. The other side forfeited. What? No, that's absurd. So IJ attorney Dan Elbin says, we're pleased to see Brian made whole after years of litigation, but his case highlights the abuse of civil forfeiture tactics used by the federal government, which will litigate a case against a property owner for years and then just voluntarily dismiss the case on the eve of the government's defeat. Without the ability to recover attorney fees after victory, most property owners cannot afford to defend their property from forfeiture. That's why Congress passed reforms back in 2000 to ensure that innocent victims of forfeiture aren't left holding the bag. We're pleased the court upheld the critical protections for property rights. So it's still the case that when they take your stuff, they go sue us because they know most people won't. And if you do sue them and you win, they go, we're not going to pay your attorney fees unless a court or a court of appeals makes us. So property owners facing federal civil forfeiture are not provided an attorney if they cannot afford one. And successfully navigating the maze of federal civil forfeiture procedures is practically impossible without legal help. To make it easier to find representation, Congress passed the Civil Asset Forfeiture Reform Act, which says that in any civil proceeding to forfeit property under any provision of federal law in which the claimant substantially prevails, the United States shall be liable for reasonable attorney fees. Trust me, substantially prevailing, when your opponent quits, you prevailed. Okay? I don't know what to say beyond that. After the government dropped its case, this man's attorneys with a law firm in Tampa requested $15,000 for the hours they'd spent to win it. While the government only requested that the district court reduce the amount, the judge instead denied the payment of fees altogether, reasoning that Brian didn't substantially prevail since the court had not ruled on the merits of the case. I got news for you. Merits of the case that the government dropped with prejudice. It has no merit. The man's won. Because the government did not pay the fees, Brian had to pay his attorneys a third of his return of money under their contingency fee arrangement. So they had an arrangement that said, look, we'll try to get our fees out of the other side, but if we can't, then we'll have to take it from the recovery. And he said, that's okay with me because I just want to get this done. So his story is sadly familiar to others who travel through Atlanta's airport. There have been several major developments in curbing the type of surprise interrogation and search he was subjected to. First, last fall, the DEA suspended and then disbanded its program of airport interdictions, in large part due to footage IJ released on YouTube showing DEA agents seizing a bag without a flyer's permission. Second, another 11th Circuit panel held 5 days ago that similar stops by Clayton County police officers. See, apparently, it's like a law enforcement convention on those jetways. Just all the cops in the world, cops, DEA, feds, state, county, you name it. You got to run a gauntlet of police. And by the way, this is after you've gone through TSA and after you've shown your boarding pass to get on the plane. You're simply waiting to get on the plane with your carry-on. Oh, hey, can we look through your bags for a second? Oh, why not? What are you hiding? Step over here for a moment. So we're talking, of course, there about the Clayton County police officers who violated the Fourth Amendment rights of comedians Eric Andre and Clayton English. That case is still being litigated. And at one point in time, a lower court had dismissed portions of it, and a higher court had reinstated portions of it. Also, IJ's got a nationwide class action lawsuit against both the DEA and the TSA over unconstitutional seizures and forfeitures, and that's in its final stages at a district court in Pittsburgh. Brian is a member of the DEA class in that lawsuit, and so many people don't quite stop to think about this, but TSA, the people who check you out as you enter the airport, okay, with take your shoes and belt off, and I know that they changed some of this recently, but we've all had to take our shoes and belt off because we're going through the TSA checkpoints, and put all your stuff in the plastic tubs and all that stuff. They're not actually law enforcement; they're more a security force. And so, interestingly, when they see someone traveling with lots of money, they will often tip off the police. Hey, someone just came through TSA and they got a lot of money with them. You might want to check them out. And so you go through TSA, who goes through your stuff, and they report you to law enforcement, despite the fact, as pointed out repeatedly, traveling domestically with cash is not a crime. And I still to this day will get people to say, but Steve, there's something fishy about someone traveling with cash. There's something fishy about that. Have you ever driven a great distance to go meet a total stranger to buy a car and ask them to take a check? Would you bother driving a great distance to go see a car and simply bring your checkbook and hope that someone will take your check? Oh, you wouldn't do that. Why now? How about this? If you were selling your car and someone said, I'm coming to look at your car, I want to buy it. And you talk to them and they go, I want to buy this car, and they whip out their checkbook. Are you cool? Oh, yeah, you'll take a check, right? There are people out there who are skeptical, who say, no, I want cash. And I've heard of people making cash transactions for things like, construction equipment or trucks, tens of thousands of dollars. And you might say, but Steve, I thought I heard someplace that a transaction involving tens of thousands of dollars needs to be reported. It does. Doesn't make it illegal. There are some situations with large cash transactions where certain entities must report the transaction of cash. There are. Doesn't make it a crime. Perfectly legal. Okay? So the fact that the guy is getting on board a plane, he's got $8,500 cash on him, I got news for you. If you could make money doing this by just taking money from travelers, All you got to do is wait for the ones getting on board the plane going to Vegas. I have a sneaky feeling a lot of people bring cash to Vegas. Oh, and guess what? Outbound flights from Vegas as well. I'm telling you. So I have to say two things. One of which is, I've mentioned before, I've got a lot of shirts behind the camera, and I rotate through them. Okay, there's probably 150, 200 shirts back there. And I pull one off one end, put it on, and then I put it the other end, and it rotates through. It's random. The shirts are random, and yet today, end qualified immunity, which is one of the other topics that the Institute for Justice is working on, qualified immunity. Today we're talking about civil asset forfeiture. Just a coincidence that I happen to be wearing an Institute for Justice t-shirt today, but somehow it all aligns, right? Number two, as I always tell you, the Institute for Justice is a nonprofit organization, handles cases nationwide on constitutional law issues. They handle cases that other people won't, and they often handle cases for people who can't afford attorneys. And not only do you get an attorney, but it's one of the best law firms in the world at what they do. They're right up at the top. And they will take a case to the Supreme Court, which they've done many times, state Supreme Courts and the U.S. Supreme Court. So they will get into a fight like this until it's over, and quite often that's when they win, when it's over. So I have to tell you, ij.org is the website. I'll put a link to them in the description below the video. They have a website, a channel on YouTube. You can watch their videos. Please support them in any way you can, even if it's just moral support. Bookmark their page, check them out, sign up for their newsletter. It's free. And if you can financially support them, do that as well. They are a nonprofit. They're a nonprofit that exists entirely on the generosity of their supporters. Okay, so if you can support them, please do. But otherwise, check them out and follow what they do because they do great work. So again, Andrew Weimer wrote this for the IJ, Jerry, and a whole bunch of other people sent it to me. Georgia veteran wins fight to get back every dollar wrongly seized by the DEA at the Atlanta airport. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Why isn't phonetic spelled the way it sounds?